Hi, it's Megan. So I am increasingly into fragrances and doing fragrance reviews, which I always like drag my heels getting them up, because when I look at cosmetics and color and this, it's so easy to describe. Fragrances are so personal, and then also they do change on you and on other people just depending on your body chemistry. So I always feel like I really have to prepare for these, and then I stumble a little bit. So my new passion, and it's on my website Essential Beauty, is the kerosene fragrances. And so this is the first video review I'm going to do of these fragrances, so I'll do a little bit of an overview. John Pegg is in Detroit, Michigan, and so you kind of have this, I don't know, post-apocalyptic, I'm such a romantic, post-apocalyptic kind of a feel. Since I write books, I exaggerate everything. But also just these really warm, beautiful, vibrant, alive fragrances. And the romantic in me just loves kind of how they shift on the body. Like when you put them on at first, some of them you're like, ooh, wow, that's really harsh. But it takes about 10 minutes before they start dying down into these super complex, interesting, different, distinctive feel fragrances. But as every perfumer has their kind of, I don't know, signature, a lot of his scents, John Pegg's scents, tend to have some sort of an underlying warmth, and he attributes that to being in Detroit, which is a cool place, and so wanting to bring some warmth in. And the one I'm going to talk about today is actually not one of the warmer, but they still all have that kind of feel to them. But it's one of my favorites, and that's why, and it's also the new one for 2015. So I felt it was like a good place to start. And so the fragrances come in a little bag like this, with a tag telling you which fragrance it is. And then you open it up, and I don't know, it's kind of cool. I guess these are painted with automobile paint. And then he designs the label, which, I don't know, the packaging is obviously awesome. And then their spray, they are 100 milliliters, and they are $140, and I think it's like about 10 cents now, but it's changing. I might have that off a little bit. So anyway, the way this one is described is a decadent dessert sprinkled with warm coconut shavings and topped with cool clementine slices. They will be drawn near as vanilla cream and tonka beans envelop the air. There are times you may want to be tasted and not forgotten, not forsaken. So this is Unforsaken. I don't think I said that yet in the video. And the notes are tangerine, clementine, coconut, yazoo, which is another type of like an orange, an Asian orange, orange blossom, jasmine, ginger, tonka bean, benzoin, vanilla, musk. And so I'm going to start by saying the most obvious thing, which is, oh my gosh, it smells like all those things, right? Yeah. So when I first spray this on, because I wrote this down, I've done it a couple times, I really smell the coconut and the flowers, and I get this strong like whiff of jasmine, coconut, and the orange blossom. And that dies down and kind of gets more sophisticated after about 10 minutes. And I don't know, again, this is personal, I kind of smell ylang ylang in this, although it's not one of the listed elements. And honestly, I looked at other people's reviews and not one person said it, but I'm still gonna say it because, again, this is a personal thing, you know, how scent reacts to your body chemistry. I smell ylang ylang. I definitely smell the fruitiness, and that on me, some people said they immediately smelled the clementine and the tangerine and whatever. I didn't, but after about 10 or 15 minutes, I definitely started smelling kind of citrus blossoming in the scent on me. So first it's like the coconut and the flower thing, totally get that. And then I started getting the citrus and the vanilla, and then kind of a richness from the musk. And I looked up, because I am not an expert on scents, I looked up benzoin, and according to that, it's like a response to damage. A plant is making, you know, their resin or whatever. And they said it's a common ingredient in incense, perfumes, food flavoring agents, and has medicinal value. It has a unique aroma reminiscent of vanilla, making it a desirable component of fragrance and incense, particularly in Asia and Middle East. And I would agree with that. This adds like a real complexity in that rich vanilla. So it's not like, the thing I like about the kerosene fragrances and the John Peg fragrances, and actually a lot of fragrances that I prefer, is that they take these elements that too often go into these overly sweet perfumes, and then they add just the right kind of sophistication, the right kind of cutting, other offsetting scents, not in a bad way offsetting, but so that you don't get that kind of sweet goopy mess. So this is adding a little tiny bit of richness and depth and less sweetness of the vanilla, and also a little bit of the exotic. So that I really liked adding this element in here. The one thing that kind of struck me too is all of a sudden I got into summer scents. I've ordered a whole bunch of them, even though I haven't had time to do most of the videos yet. And one of the things that I liked about a lot of them is that they kind of have that coconut, vanilla, flower, and various, I don't know, ways of kind of compiling some scent. But then they also have a little bit of a sunscreen element. And this one really fits into that summer scent category, but it does so in a sophisticated way without kind of as much of that sunscreen element. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like the perfect fit for the other scents I've been playing around with. I also looked up tonka bean, and I got, this is from Fragrantia, I think, Fragrantina, I can't pronounce it. The journey of tonka bean to the heart of perfumery begins in 1793, when the cameroon fruit was first introduced to the French people. The plant was cultivated and grown as a tropical tree with beautiful purple flowers, each cultivating one bean. Black tonka beans, distinguished by their wrinkled surface or dark brown from the inside, may spread characteristic vanilla-like flavor that reminds of the scent of cinnamon, saffron, almond, and cloves. The beans are also commonly used as a replacement for vanilla, and they have a powdery sweet effect with an intensive, balmy, warm, gourmand, and intoxicating character. And that last sentence so fits the vanilla in this scent. The olfactory impression has a powdery sweet effect with intensive, balmy, warm, gourmand, and intoxicating character. Totally fits the scent. I just really kind of get that completely. And then I also think there is that little bit of a spicy element. I thought I'd written down clove. That's why I keep looking down. I thought I'd smelled something like clove or cinnamon, but I guess I didn't write that down. But there is almost a little bit of a spiciness to it, but not as defined. You know, clove and cinnamon are both maybe too strong a scent, but just kind of that soft little kind of kick that you get by adding a little bit of spiciness into something. As I'm smelling it now, it's warmed up because I've been wearing it, and it's such a comforting, warm, enveloping, but not overly sweet, perfect element of kind of the citrus and the vanilla and the flowers. On me, it seems a little less citrusy than on some other people, so that's kind of a personal thing. On me, as I wear it over about 3 or 4 hours, I get more of the flowers and the vanilla and a little bit of a musk and spiciness, even though I can still smell the citrus. It's not that it isn't there, but it seems like I get less citrus than some. Good or bad, I don't know. And on me, I feel like it lasts in a strong way for about 4 or 5 hours, and then it really fades away, kind of dropping off pretty quickly. But I can never tell for sure if once I've been wearing a scent for that long, it's kind of me that just doesn't smell it anymore versus the scent itself. And it does last a good 8 to 10 hours on me, definitely weaker at the end. One thing that I've read over and over again is that it's a little bit like the Unknown Pleasures scent by the Kerosene line. And Unknown Pleasures is citrus, but a little bit more lemony. It's got tea, and then it's also got like a caramel cone kind of a thing. And I feel like this particular scent, Unforsaken, is, it's not a sweet scent, so I don't want to say sweeter, but with the orange, I feel like that gives it kind of a rich sweetness-ish, not super sweet. But I definitely get more of this being a bit of more floral than Unknown Pleasures. God, this is my favorite album and I still can't say the name. Anyway, like I said, scent reviews are hard for me, so I'm still perfecting it. But that's what I have to say about this scent. I truly, truly love this one. I mean, I really do. I think it's just great. And it's different. It's not like all the other scents that you smell out there. I would love to hear comments, thoughts. If there is one of the kerosene fragrances I absolutely have to try, I would love to hear that as well. and your comments on how it smells on you would be very welcome. And please subscribe on YouTube because it does help me a lot. And this is one of the scents on my site, essentialbeauty.com. So check them out. Thanks.